Sekjen ASEAN dan para menteri yang hadir, termasuk Premier Sarawak dan Ketua Menteri Sabah, tuan-tuan yang terutama, atas dukungan dan semangat kerjasama ASEAN. Thank you again for this wonderful hospitality. We are so excited that we started early. Very much an un-ASEAN way. But I think it signals a good beginning. So the members of the diplomatic corps who just arrived, I can assure you are not late. But you know, the spirit, the excitement, particularly in the last few days, and the success of ASEAN, and of course the Secretariat, and the Secretary General Dr. Kao, and members of the Secretariat who worked indefatigably hard to achieve such results, that gives us the further encouragement to come and support this venture, and to be happy to be here as your guest, and in fact, your team. So thank you again, Dr. Kao. So, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to be here at the ASEAN Secretariat for the first time as Prime Minister, as Chair, and it's particularly meaningful because I had time to exchange views and ideas, and one of the few occasions that I attend that is escalating. It is these shared habits of cooperation, to summarize, habits of the heart of Tocqueville, that continue to anchor our stability even when challenges arise. Just yesterday, in our capacity as ASEAN Chair, Malaysia was entrusted with the responsibility of hosting the leaders of Cambodia and Thailand at a time when tensions on their border had become a cause of grave concern to us all. I must remind you that the last 2 months, when we had this ASEAN, GCC, China summit, we were talking about the unique position of ASEAN, the most peaceful region in the world, the most vibrant economically, and then there was this eruption at the border. Of course, it has become a grave concern to us all. But despite the dangerous and escalating situation, it was both vital and possible to bring the two sides to the negotiating table. In the lead up to the meeting, I spoke to both leaders repeatedly, and to my other colleagues in ASEAN, took care to listen to their perspectives, and it takes a lot of patience to listen. But I'm listening to not only to prime ministers, but to friends, to family friends actually, which is again a unique feature within ASEAN. We can converse, we can exchange, have exchanges as true friends. And of course, we have the Secretariat. We have the Foreign Minister and the entire staff of the Foreign Ministry who continuously urge their counterpart to reach an amicable resolution to the conflict. At least a common ground in the interest of ensuring no more lives were lost. Now, with the participation of the United States and President Donald Trump himself engaging directly with both prime ministers, that would, of course, further encourage and help facilitate that arrangement. And then China, their active participation to help facilitate the two sides to agree to an immediate and unconditional ceasefire. Now, this reflects not only the strength of ASEAN's convening power, but also the constructive engagement that we've been talking about for decades with our partners in safeguarding regional stability. Now, immediately after that meeting, I managed to speak to Prime Minister Lawrence Wong of Singapore. Then extensive discussion with President Prabowo last night and this afternoon. We still continue to engage with Prime Minister Hun Manet and Prime Minister Phum Tham. Then just here, with the confirmation, and no fee was asked, because I used their premises to speak to the Sultan of Brunei. And you see, this sort of engagement is again unique. Of course, I was given and entrusted with the job, but I think I represent the ASEAN spirit. And therefore, I need their support, mandate given, and they deserve to be given the gratitude, because it is through this ASEAN cohesiveness that I'm able to speak strongly and urge our colleagues to secure a lasting peace, because I'm representing the 10+1 countries. Now, so I commend Prime Minister Hun Manet of Cambodia and Acting Prime Minister Phum Tham of Thailand for their statesmanship, as well to President Trump, President Xi Jinping, and the Chinese leadership for the constructive engagement. I've chosen to invite not only the two leaders from Cambodia and Thailand, but to keep United States representative to my right and China to my left. It was a remarkable feat that not many regions can do, but we did the ASEAN way. Principal centrality, to engage, give the respect, and need their support to ensure the peaceful resolution to the conflict. Now, the presence and cooperation of all parties reaffirm that peace is best achieved through dialogue, mutual respect, and a shared commitment to stability. This episode has served as a vital reaffirmation of the values that have served our region well. Now, by continuing to uphold the ASEAN Charter and the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation, we can strengthen the peace dividend, ensuring ASEAN remains a community of trust, cooperation, and shared prosperity for generations to come. Now, I didn't mean some countries, because I saw the ambassador of the Philippines puzzled why I didn't mention Bongbong Marcos. I'm due to speak to him later. It also reminds us that the qualities which have kept our region at peace, patience, trust, steady diplomacy, are the same qualities that give meaning to our centrality and unity today. I have consistently underscored that ASEAN's centrality, unity, and autonomy should remain the compass in our collective journey ahead. However, we must be cognizant that these ethos are not a right, but a privilege we must work hard to sustain the face of shifting regional and global dynamics. In a fragmented world, our centrality and unity matter more than ever. The existing international order is not just under strain. It is facing unprecedented level of fragmentation, characterized by major power rivalries, geo-economic competition, and fraying multilateralism. The world now is increasingly more complex, chaotic, and contradictory. ASEAN must therefore confront this sobering reality with clarity of purpose and vision. As we navigate an uncertain strategic landscape, we must continue to be a voice of reason and a resilient community committed to peace and shared prosperity. ASEAN's commitment to regionalism and multilateralism remains the anchor of the region's collective stability and progress. It is imperative that ASEAN continue to stand for rules even when others choose to retreat. ASEAN must be an agent of change, one that has the capacity to shape the global rules and norms to remain open, inclusive, and firmly rooted in the principle of justice. As an outward-looking organization in a multipolar world, ASEAN must continue to punch above its weight by broadening its global partnerships, deepening ties and strategic links with diverse partners is not a choice. It is a strategic imperative. But we should engage as equals. And above all, you must be the speakers and not the spoken for. So, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in facing today's global economic headwinds, it is imperative that we focus our energies inward towards building a more integrated and resilient ASEAN economy. Our region is home to a vast and vibrant market of 670 million people. The potential is undeniable, but to realize it fully, we must narrow the existing development gaps and forge stronger, more equitable economic linkages across member states. At the 47th ASEAN Summit in Kuala Lumpur, we will once again demonstrate our collective commitment towards improving the unimpeded flow of goods within our region. And this will be in late October. So good luck to you. Because if succeed, we say thank the chairman. If it fails, blame the secretariat. Oh, I'm joking. You will have sleepless nights after this. Now, through renewed efforts to reduce tariff and non-tariff barriers, we are taking meaningful steps towards creating a more seamless and dynamic ASEAN economic community that works for all, not just for some. So, in my discussions with President Prabowo, for example, we emphasize on ASEAN's extensive network of free trade agreements has long served and has to be further expanded because it has, the trade agreements is pivotal because it was a cornerstone of our economic resilience. But in an era marked by protectionism and shifting supply chains, we cannot afford to become complacent. We must remain committed to openness and reform, even as we adapt to a more complex geoeconomic landscape. It is only through sustained liberalization and cooperation that we can safeguard jobs, preserve growth, and consolidate our position in the global economy. The RCEP, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, is central to this vision. As the world's largest trade agreement, it reinforces ASEAN's role as the linchpin of regional economic architecture. We expect the fifth, do you call it RCEP, RCEP? What do you call it? RCEP. I follow the Secretary General. I don't know why it's called RCEP, but then it's okay. I wouldn't argue with this. So it's RCEP. We expect the fifth RCEP leaders meeting to also take place at the sidelines of the 47th ASEAN Summit, thus presenting an opportunity for us to ensure that RCEP delivers tangible benefits for our businesses, workers, and communities. Now, as we look to strengthen ASEAN's position in an increasingly competitive global economy, we must also do more to ensure that businesses can operate with confidence and clarity across our borders. And this is, of course, emphasized in every single bilateral and ASEAN meetings. We can't be talking about expanding trade and we don't enhance intra-ASEAN trade. We can talk about flow, free flow, and being attractive to foreign direct investments when you disallow a curb or do not necessarily encourage increasing investments within ASEAN. So that has been the priority, and I think we need to push this ahead because the potential for trade and investments within ASEAN itself is huge. And as we have seen during the success of the ASEAN GCC China Summit, it is a clear signal that ASEAN is ready to build new bridges and unlock new partnerships. It also reaffirms our shared determination to shape a future based on mutual respect, shared growth, and strategic cooperation. Now, digital economy will be a key driver of ASEAN's next phase of growth. That is why we are advancing efforts to conclude the ASEAN Digital Economy Framework Agreement while modernizing our existing trade agreements with strategic partners, including China, India, and the Republic of Korea. These efforts reflect ASEAN's readiness to embrace change and position ourselves at the forefront of digital transformation. Business as usual is no longer an option, which means good governance, transparency, accountability. Now, as ASEAN charts its path forward, we must embed sustainability at the heart of our economic agenda. Accelerating the ASEAN power grid is one such priority. It will not only advance our green energy transition, but also attract new investments, create quality jobs, and enhance the region's long-term energy security. A just and sustainable future for ASEAN is within reach if we are bold enough to act now. So, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot afford an ASEAN that is weak, fragmented, or in conflict with each other. Our national fortunes rise or fall with the region. In these increasingly polarized times, ASEAN must continue to harness its convening power to advance dialogue, diplomacy, and strategic trust while fostering space for meaningful cooperation. The journey ahead will be fraught with challenges. ASEAN needs to do more to ensure its cohesiveness in both articulation and action as a clear manifestation of centrality. We must also uphold our time-honored geostrategic construct, absorb fund, double down on ASEAN-led mechanisms, including the East Asia Summit, ASEAN +3, and ASEAN Regional Forum. ASEAN cannot control the global currents, nor can we dictate terms to the world. Nonetheless, we can chart our own future for the better with courage, foresight, and determination. Now, in doing so, we will ensure that the benefits of ASEAN integration are truly realized, bringing value to our people and future generations. Terima kasih. Thank you. Kapungka maraming salamat po.
Thank you.